Welcome to Technical Talkout, a combat sports podcast that goes over the latest events, news, rumors, breakdowns, dream matchups, and so much more. Join us as we nerd out about our favorite combat sports, boxing, MMA, and competitive grappling. And we're live.
We are live. We're live.
All right, Bruce Beaterer.
So what do we got up on the lineup today?
We've got quite a few different things. I sent you the list of our talking points. We're coming to the end of the year, and we're not really. We have like a little bit left, but the beginning of 2021, which we'll get to later, is going to be really good. But let's start with the UFC 256.
Let's go for it. Do you want to start? Where do you want to start? You want to start Tisha Torres versus Sam Hughes, which all I know is Tisha Torres. Or do you want to start with Mackenzie Dern versus some lady named Verna, which I'm pretty sure Mackenzie's gonna destroy her. Here's where it starts getting interesting. Cub Swanson versus Pineda, Daniel Pineda.
Yeah, that's going to be the main card the main fight on the prelims.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Dreams on there on the early prelims. Chase Hooper.
Yeah, he actually opens up, and he's a huge favorite. He's a plus 800 favorite or something.
Oh, the odds aren't updated on the UFC's website, but yeah, I think Ben Askren Jr. is going to do well.
Yeah. It's funny because in my DraftKings, I actually chose against him.
Well, we've got Renato Moicano and Rafael Fiziev.
Now, Fiziev, I'm not too familiar with Fiziev. Is he the... Who is Fiziev? Do you know anything about Fiziev?
I don't. I'm trying to look up... God damn it. I'm trying to look some stuff up now.
Is he the guy that bends? Like, have you seen those YouTube highlights when somebody throws a kick? He's the guy that dodges it by bending out of the way, looking like he's a 90-degree angle.
Yes, I think that's him. He like completely just leans back and misses the kick.
Okay, so we're safe to assume that his striking might be on point since that was a kickboxing match. Okay.
Yeah, he took that fight from Mark Diakise,
yeah, which is another good striker.
He's a good striker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he took that decision from him. But yeah, other than that, that was his biggest fight. So Moicano is going to be his biggest fight to date.
Yeah, it sounds like Moicano might be an underdog in this, though.
I'm not seeing the odds anymore, but yeah, this is going to be a good fight. I mean, I like Moicano's chances.
Me too.
I mean, he could. I don't know how good Fiziev's ground game is, but it looks like his whole record has been just really like terrible wins by striking. Like he's just hurt people.
Okay.
And yeah, he's got some he's got wins by a lot of different things, which is he's got a good Muay Thai record, but like he's got a knockout by flying knee, he's got head kick and punches, a body kick knockout.
Oh wow, okay.
Spinning back kick and punches knockout.
So it's very diverse.
That's how he got knocked out. I'm sorry.
Oh. Okay.
But other than that, he's still very diverse.
Yeah, very diverse. Okay. I'm very intrigued because I like Moicano. I think moving up to 55 might have been a better move for him just based on his size. He looks like he's a big fella. I mean, he took Ortega really deep. He almost won that fight, as a matter of fact, and then he got caught with the guillotine. But I like Moicano in that fight.
He beat Calvin Kattar.
Yeah, he did.
He's got a win over Calvin Kattar. He's got a win over Jeremy Stevens. I mean, he's got some good wins.
Oh yeah. No, he's good, man. He's good. And then he popped out at 45. I think he lost to Jose Aldo, right down in
Sung Jung.
Mm-hmm. And that was it. After that, he was like, "I'm going up." And then the first fight they gave him at lightweight, he was very angry. Do you remember that? He ended up stopping the guy in like maybe within 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh, and is that when the guy was like, he's like, Moicano was like, I wanted to fight more. And the guy was like, well, you submitted me.
Yeah. It was exactly that one. And so Moicano was upset also because he was like, you know, how dare the UFC give me somebody like this? You know, like this guy's not ready for me. You know, I've got some wins at 45 and they're giving me this guy. So give me more of a challenge. And I was like, yeah, he was pretty fired up after that.
Wow. This will be his second fight of 2020. I
Yeah,
mean, considering some people have already have 5, like, this is his 2nd.
yeah,
So he's taking a little bit of a break.
and it's not like he needed to.
Yeah, I mean, he won that one so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Moicano versus Fiziev, which will be a pretty good fight.
Mhm.
Cub Swanson versus Daniel Pineda. I always enjoy watching Cub Swanson fight. I don't care who he's fighting.
Me too. I love watching Cub fight, man. I hope he comes out and brings it. I know Pineda's a little bit older too. Pineda's coming off of that win from Herbert Burns, Gilbert's brother, and
Oh, yeah, I enjoyed watching that.
yeah, and he was right there with the grappling too with Herbert. I mean,
I
he didn't.
remember that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and he was putting it on him, and that was like 3 rounds of just abuse. So I mean, and Pineda's what 36, 37 years old too. He's pretty up there in age, I believe. But let me see.
He is 35.
35. So he's up there in age, getting a late start in the UFC roster. Definitely has something to prove, and Swanson is that guy that has a name that you could potentially pull it off. And I say that because he's coming off of a major ACL surgery. Remember,
Yeah.
Cub ended up tearing up his knee in the grappling competition.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, do you remember that? It was 7, 8 months ago. It was right before COVID. He had it was like the 3-on-3 grappling. And who was it? I cannot remember for the life of me who he ended up tearing his knee up against. And it was an accident. Like he had like he was playing. It looked like I don't know, like De La Hiva or something, and he ended up moving the wrong way and ended up tearing his knee up because of that.
I faintly remember this, but,
Yeah,
well, MMA wise, he's coming off of a win, but prior to that, he had 4 straight losses.
yeah. His win was against
Kron,
none other. Yeah, Kron. What
yeah,
that was a good fight, man. They both
that
were coming
was, and
forward. Yeah,
that was pretty impressive of Kronda. He took all that punishment for those 3 rounds.
and just kept coming forward.
Yeah, I'm surprised Cub didn't stop him.
Yeah, you know why, man? Because good old Hickson would have told him, "My guy, your last name is no longer Gracie." If
I
he
don't
would have
think
got stopped in there.
yeah. Uh, I think this will be a good fight. I mean, Cub always brings it, I bet this Pineda guy brings it too. I don't remember too much of him, but I remember that Herbert Burns fight, and I
Hmm.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah, yeah. It's 2 guys that are very aggressive that have good ground games. So uh, hopefully they put on a show, man. Do you know anything about the next fight that is opening up the main card? With
JDS,
and Cyril Gahn. Do you know anything about Cyril Gahn?
I'm looking him up right now. He's undefeated. He's 6-0. Um,
He's
he's
a
got he's
dude.
got a
He's
win by heel hook.
Yeah, heel hook. Knock. He does jumping knees, a lot of jumping switch knees. He's
I mean,
very
he's undefeated in Muay Thai with 7 wins.
Yeah, dude. He's very creative on his feet, and he
So
is
this
shredded.
this could be a dangerous fight for JDS, but at the same time, this could also be a JDS win.
Yeah,
Like,
a veteran type win. He takes him down and he just submits him. It's kind of what I was thinking too. And I would
I don't even
like,
think that. I think it could be legitimately a JDS, like, stoppage knockout.
the last time I picked against JDS, I lost. So I'll pick JDS this time around.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's on a 3-fight losing streak, but it was Ngannou, Blades, and Rosenstruik.
Hmm.
Like, those are not losses, like, to nobodies.
Oh no, those all those guys I think are in the top five,
Yeah, then his last 3 wins before that were Blagoy Ivanov, Tai Tuivasa, and Derek Lewis,
which are
which
all in the top five.
yeah, and then before that winning streak, his last loss was to Stipe, so he's still competitive in the heavyweight division, and it kinda goes to my point of the heavyweight and light heavyweight division not being that deep.
No, absolutely, I completely agree. Actually, did JDS lose his last fight?
Mm, I think so, let me pull that up again. Uh, JDS, his last fight is a loss. Yeah, to Rosenstruik.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go because I picked JDS to win that last fight. So I'm gonna go and pick Cyril Gahn. I'm gonna say Cyril Gahn by TKO.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that same one too.
You know.
Yeah,
Have you seen Cyril Gahn, by the way?
yeah, he's huge.
Dude, he looks like a prospect. He looks like a legitimate prospect, and automatically he gets his name thrown into the top 10 if he beats JDS.
What's crazy is JDS has been fighting in the UFC since, October of 2008 when he knocked
My
out
god.
Fabricio Verdum.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember you met him a few months after that, didn't you?
Yeah, and he didn't speak any English, and
Yeah.
then later, like, now he speaks perfect English. He's really taken to it.
Absolutely, man. I'm always
Yeah.
I'm a fan of his. I love JDS, and I hope it is a good stoppage, right? Like where he's safe and stuff, and it's not contested. And I hope if it is a stoppage, I hope he hangs up the gloves, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting up there, and how much more does he need to fight?
You know, and it's you've made a name. You're now going to be 38, 39 years old. You know, unfortunately, you're just not as his thing. His He was fast. Remember how fast he was for a heavyweight? And unfortunately, it's just age has caught up to that fella.
Yeah, I mean, he put a lot on his body in those 12 years.
Oh yeah, man. Some of the wars that he was in too. Oh my god.
Yeah, with Kane, those were
Oh man. Do you remember? Was it? I'm trying to think. Was it Stipe versus? No, they only fought twice, right? And Stipe knocked him out both times.
no, the first one,
Was a
JDS took him in a decision.
Oh, that's the one. That is one of those fights that ended up taking some years off of his life too, because that was remember how close that decision was?
Yeah, but there were moments in there where I was so surprised because like, JDS took down Stipe a few times.
Mm-hmm. And that was Stipe probably what 3 or 4 fights in.
Yeah, I mean, this was in 2014, so Stipe this was, like, early in his career.
Mm-hmm. So it was a little. It's when he used to come out wearing the crow cop shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and I actually thought he was really like a full on Croatian. I didn't know he was OHIO. Yeah, I didn't know he was
yeah.
fluent. Yeah.
He's got he's been fighting in the so he was about his 3rd year when he fought JDS, and that
Mm-hmm.
was his 2nd loss in the UFC, and then his 3rd loss was Daniel Cormier, so wow. I mean, no, we're not talking about Stipe here, but that was just impressive.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man.
But, I mean, JD back to JDS, I think JDS upsets, and I think he takes this.
Okay.
I mean, at heavyweight, anyone can knock anyone out, that's
Of
kind of
course. And
the craziest thing.
power is always the last thing to go.
Yeah. Um, so now we move on to the next fight, which is very interesting, Kevin Holland versus Jacare.
I get excited for this one. I'm
I
like
mean,
really
Kevin
excited.
Holland,
I
he
know
is definitely a prospect.
that guy he has looked good in all his fights. His first fight in the UFC, he fought Thiago Santos on a short notice fight. I mean, I think it was like 2 weeks, 2 weeks notice, right? And
Yeah.
he ended up losing a decision
Mhm.
to Santos. And he hit Santos with some big shots. He got hit with big shots. It was a very entertaining fight for somebody that had taken a fight in 2 weeks. And after that, I mean, I think I saw his fight against was it Anton Merrifield? No, no, no. Who's the guy with the crazy kick?
I don't remember.
You know the kick of the year. That guy.
The one who had his kick caught
Yes,
and then he
yes.
spun
Spun.
around.
Yeah. That fight that Kevin Holland had against him made me go, "Oh, this guy's really entertaining." That whole
Was
fight.
it Joaquin Buckley?
Yes, yes, Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah.
And he was talking to Joaquin. Joaquin hit him with a good shot in the first round. Kevin Holland kind of shook it off. I think he had like some leg injury during that fight, or prior to that fight, he was saying, and then and he was giving it to him, man. He was giving it to him. I think he knocked him out or stopped him in the second. Was it the second or third? He hit him with a straight and just dropped him, fell flat on his ass.
The 3rd.
Yeah, the third. But that opened my eyes to Kevin Holland, and I was like, okay, I like this guy.
He doesn't have a lot of, like, wins. So, I
Notable
mean, he has a
wins.
lot of wins. I mean, the biggest name I see here in his UFC other than Thiago Santos is Gerald Meerschaert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but, I mean, we'll see how he does against Jacare. So Jacare is gonna be his biggest named opponent to date.
Yeah. And I mean if he gets Jacare, right? Jacare could win this very easily if Jacare is the same Jacare that has the game plan of, hey, I'm going to take you down because there's not many people in the world that can get up from underneath my top game and can walk away without getting submitted. And if he could stick to that, then he's going to walk away with a pretty easy victory.
Yeah, I mean, Jacare, his last 2 fights were losses, both by decision.
Hmm.
Then before that, he knocked out Chris Weidman.
Hmm.
So, I mean, he hasn't taken a ton of punishment.
No, the problem is like remember how he used to just as soon as the fight started, he would throw a punch and then he would just shoot in for a takedown,
Yeah.
and then 9 out of 10 times he would just submit whoever is underneath. Like he's gotten away with that, or he's gotten away from that, and fallen more in love with his striking. And I think we started seeing that in the Robert Whitaker fight,
Mhm.
and then he ended up getting clipped by Whitaker, and from there he was on roller skates the whole rest of the fight, and Whitaker had him drop like 2 or 3 times, but he should have went back and went back to that same game plan that he always does. And it just when you're that good, you should just use it to your advantage as best as possible, like Damian Maya, right?
Yeah, Damian Maia's never left that. He's never left his, striking or his,
No, no,
grapple.
not at all, man, not at all. And he gets in trouble when it comes to strikers and guys that know how to defend a takedown. But for the most part, that's like the upper echelon of guys. And maybe Kevin Holland is one of those upper echelon kind of guys. We won't know until maybe Saturday night, or maybe he's just another run of the mill guy. That's just not quite ready. He's been training. I guess he went down to AKA and he's been training over with Daniel Cormier and the crew, in preparation of the grappling. He said one of the things that he had said. I don't know who he's talking about. I wonder if he's talking about Buchecha. But he said, "Oh yeah, my grappling coach actually has a very similar style as Jacare, and I might be able to handle it." So I was like, "Okay, well, that's
Um,
interesting."
Surprisingly, he's actually a black belt in jiu-jitsu under Travis Lutter.
Travis Luter, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
He trains out of, Phoenix or Phalanx MMA Academy
Hmm.
out of Riverside.
Yeah, he. I guess he made a drive up to Gilroy, and it was training out there with DC.
Yeah, I think this'll be a good fight. This will definitely be a good test for him. It's a good test for both of them because
Hmm.
it shows Jacare can still compete
Against
with
the young
the rising
guns.
stars. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then or it's Kevin Holland's like, "You beat Jacare"
Yeah.
moment.
Oh man, but this could also be a coming out party too.
Mhm.
Maybe Jacare starts out slow and he's not prepared, and Kevin Holland just blitzes him with something. Um, who knows, man? Either way, I'm very excited for that fight. I'm a big Kevin Holland fan, and looking forward to. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think that'll be a fun fight. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, most
th
definitely.
so on the next fight, so we have 2 good fights to start the card off with.
Hmm.
Fights that I don't think will make it to a decision. Then we have Mackenzie Dern versus Virna Yanediroba.
Yeah, I don't know her.
Um,
No disrespect to her. I'm
she's
sure
a
she's
black belt.
incredible.
She only has 1 loss to Carla Esparza, but she's submitted Mallory Martin. She submitted Felice Herrig in August 2020. So she's got some she her move is definitely submission.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
this could be an interesting fight because she's going against arguably the greatest female grappler in the UFC's roster right now, Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah.
So neither of them, I mean, from what I can see, neither of them are great strikers. I mean, I never thought Mackenzie Dern had great striking. I can't speak to the striking of Virna,
Virna.
but this is going to be a good it could be a good grappling match, or it could just be like
A boring stand-up fight.
boring stand-up fight, or it could be Mackenzie Dern really making a stance on her dominance in grappling. Like,
Yeah.
look how good of a grappler she was, and I submitted her.
I would love to see something like that. And Mackenzie's very capable of doing something like that. She's the Michael Jordan of female grappling.
Uh, so then would Gabby Garcia be the Shaq?
Yes, yes. Gabby Garcia would be the Shaq, or she would be the Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of the one person that's listening to this is probably like, I can't. He just compared Gabby Garcia to Shaq, and he just compared Mackenzie Dern to Michael Jordan.
Yes. Either somebody's gonna be upset about the basketball reference or they're gonna be upset, like, "No, Mackenzie Dern isn't that good."
Yeah.
Someone's gonna be
Yes.
upset.
I think Dern wins. I think she wins a decision. An ugly decision, but a decision.
I think you're right. I think it'll be a boring decision. I think Mackenzie Dern will out-grapple her, but I think it'll be a boring just Mackenzie Dern will have the position the entire fight.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. It'll be the position, or it'll just be somebody's moving backwards and somebody's moving forward, throwing one or two punches, and that's how we're doing it. Whoever's dictating the
Like
movement of the other fighter is going
yeah,
to
like an
become
ugly
victor.
leg kick here and there.
Yeah, yeah, a sloppy overhand that might connect and make the judges go okay. So, but yeah, I would
And
love
they're
to be
probably just
proved
gonna,
wrong.
like, tie up against the cage. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna
Oh
clinch
yeah.
and go against the cage.
Yeah, foot stomps. If you're a foot stomp
Yeah.
person, I'd probably say you should change the channel.
Uh, yeah, so I guess this is gonna be the middle fight, so then
I would
with the
love to be wrong about that though. I would love for nothing more than Mackenzie to come out with like a flying triangle, something ridiculous, Imanari into a heel hook, like right out the gate, something.
I mean, I think it'd be just great if she came out, got her down, dominated her, took her back, and choked her out.
Yeah. Okay.
That would
Yeah.
just show how good her grappling is above somebody who's a good grappler.
Yeah. She's like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, so what I did was, but yeah,
Yeah,
Dern. Okay, so we both agreed Dern wins.
I agree Dern wins. Yeah, you and I both agree on that.
Cool, cool.
And then next we have what could be an extremely exciting fight, Ferguson Oliveira. I think this is definitely a time where we could see Tony Ferguson get submitted.
It's definitely possible.
That's the thing is like has never he's submitted some good guys, but I've never like DuBronx is on another level.
So one of the things that New Bronx reminds me, one of the ways that the Bronx reminds me of Tony Ferguson is in his length.
Yeah.
They're both wiry kind of guys.
Tony Ferguson's 6 foot and DuBronx is 5'10". So
Hmm.
they're both lengthy.
What's their reach?
Ferguson's 76 and a half and DuBronx 74. So they're both got fairly long reach
Yeah, yeah.
division.
So they're both very lengthy.
Mhm.
Somebody's getting hit with an elbow.
If anyone gets hit with an elbow, it's gonna be DuBronx.
Yeah,
Ferguson throws those things.
yeah. He's gonna throw because I think he's gonna have to work his way into the inside. Um,
Mhm.
but taking DuBronx down though, man, just imagine if he gets DuBronx down and DuBronx has like a butterfly hook.
How often, though, do we really see Tony Ferguson go for takedowns
That's true. He was taken down and kind of controlled by Kevin Lee.
until he got that triangle?
Yeah, and he had the opportunity to do it against Justin, but he didn't. So
Yeah. He like Eddie Bravo said, "Maybe try an Imanari roll."
yeah, yeah.
He tells him that in
He's like,
between
"Fuck,
rounds.
I don't know, dude. Do an Eminari roll."
Yeah, and then as you're at home watching, you're like, "What?" Like, that's your guidance, your coaching?
Yeah.
Maybe try an Imanari roll.
Yeah. poor, poor Eddie Bravo put on the spot.
Yeah. That was he's just like, "Whatever, try something."
Yeah, but damn, yeah. So hmm, does Tony lose two in a row?
Uh, I don't know because we've never seen Tony lose 2 in a row. His last loss before Gaethje was Michael Johnson in 2012.
Yeah, it was like a 12 fight win streak before that.
It was something ridiculous and, like, over the best of the best,
Yeah.
which is yeah, and he submitted a lot of them too.
Hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Mm,
Kevin Lee, Lando Venata, Edson Barboza, Gleison Tebow, which I'm surprised he submitted him.
all right,
And then
oh, sorry, go ahead.
and no, that was just going on with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's talk about Dubronx's losses,
Very few.
right? But his losses, I feel, have come by the way of the submission.
Um, yeah, surprisingly. I remember he got submitted by Jim Miller long ago when he was a purple belt.
Yeah, then he got submitted by Anthony Pettis.
Pettis got him with a guillotine, and then
Hmm.
so did Ricardo Lamas the next fight. So he lost 2 in a row by both by guillotine. Then he lost to Paul Felder by elbows in 2017, and then from there he's only won, and he's finished all of his fights. So he's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak, all finishes.
So I guess my question would be: Does does Tony Ferguson's jujitsu and offensive grappling negate the rise or the change in the game that Dubronx has?
I don't know. That's the hard part because DeBronx is he how would I put this? His striking is very, I would say, like, wild. It used to be more wild, but now he's, like, refined it.
Oh, he so I so regarding his striking, I love his Thai style striking. The
Mhm.
Brazilian aggressive Thai style where he's got his hands held up high. And
Yeah.
yeah, I
He throws a lot of kicks because he wasn't worried about the ground.
mm-hmm.
But Tony Ferguson is a different person. I I don't know. I mean, Tony could outwork him and just make him quit
That's you know what? That's a big difference right there.
because Tony Ferguson doesn't have to worry about the power like Gaethje has, right?
Nor does
So
he have to
he couldn't pressure him.
nor does he have to worry about the cardio running low.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone has the cardio problem, it could be Oliveira trying to make weight,
Yes. So
which he hasn't missed weight since he hasn't
55.
missed weight since 2018. He missed weight once at 55 with against Ricardo Lamas, and that was it. But yeah, ever since then, he's made weight every fight, so I don't know why Tony Ferguson would just say something like that, which makes me thinks he's a little bit rattled.
You
He's
know,
worried about losing to the Bronx.
could be, man. Could be, or maybe just one of those things where he's pissed because he cuts the weight again and it's for nothing. But DeBronx is somebody that could upset him.
Oh yeah, way for sure.
And I think it's going to be a nasty decision. And when I say nasty decision, it's going to be we're going to want 2 more rounds.
I hmm, I don't think so. I think whoever wins is gonna win it decisively,
Okay.
and I think Tony Ferguson is going to get a 3rd round submission. I think he is going to put the pressure on him. I don't think he's gonna worry too much about Oliveira's ground game. I would love to see Oliveira versus Nate Diaz.
You know what would be an amazing thing if for whatever reason Fergie was down two rounds, like 2 big rounds to none, right?
Mhm.
And then going into the third round, he knows the pressure's on, but he could feel DeBronx breaking, and so he just goes balls to the wall.
I mean, we've never seen Tony Ferguson not do that. I mean, other than the Gaethje fight, which he couldn't get close to Gaethje. You know, Gaethje would either pop him with a really big punch or he'd hit him with a leg kick. So,
Mhm.
like, that was the only time we've ever seen Tony Ferguson neutralized.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Ferguson because he's been at the top longer.
I think so too. I think he's faced a lot more competition as well, like in that level.
Yeah, that veteranship is going to show that night.
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
think I think it's going to be a good fight, and I think there's definitely a chance either wins. I'm leaning with Tony, and I think Tony finishes him with. I think he submits him. I think he hits him with a Dars
Okay. That'd be fun to watch.
because Oliveira has been his submission losses have come via
The choke.
next,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
choke. So
Mm-hmm.
he
May
might be able to get his neck open.
Yeah, maybe he gets exhausted. He gets exhausted and he shoots in.
That could be. That could be very well what happens.
Yeah.
but I think it'll be a good fight. It's Tony. I mean, both these guys never put on boring fights,
No, not at
and
all. Yeah.
this will be good for Dubronx because he kind of has been flying really quietly under the radar.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk. Nobody knows who he is, but yet he's a killer.
Oh my God. He's still what? Maybe he's 31 now.
I mean, he's not that old.
Yeah, and he's
He's
been doing this since he's like 19.
he's 31. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think it's
He
because we were
entered
talking about him last time.
UFC he came into the UFC in 2010, so he's now been fighting for a decade.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive,
Very impressive.
and he's only
That's
ever, like, fought the best.
yeah,
Like, if you look at
it's
his record.
just names on names on names, people that are recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but he's so tantalizing. Like when I say that, I mean his striking is beautiful, right? It's very clean. It's cleaned up a lot, but he has knockout power and he could submit people. And I say that because both of those things at the top levels are very dangerous and like he belongs in there and we've got glimpses of it before, but for whatever reason, maybe it was mental, like a
Mhm.
mental piece. He'd always have a breakdown or something would happen and he would just give up in the fight. Like you could see him break at some point, and maybe he's fixed that. Maybe he's now more mentally strong. But I think Tony's going to be the one that's going to really test that mental fortitude. Because,
Yeah. I mean, Tony tests everybody's mental fortitude.
yeah, and Dubronx, we'll find out because if Dubronx doesn't break by like round two, then it could be a very interesting fight.
Yeah, but I think it depends how he comes in shape. I mean, if he had a hard time making weight,
Hmm.
Tony could just drain him in the first round.
Very true.
He could just put that pressure. Tony Ferguson versus Nate Diaz would be a good one too.
Oh yeah,
I don't think either guy would knock each other out, but they just consistently like move forward on each other
yeah.
and they try a bunch of shit.
Those grappling exchanges would be so fun to watch.
Yeah, they'd be rolling around like lizards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'd get into a breakdance battle.
Yeah. So we move on to the main event. We have Davison Figueiredo. Figueroa. How can I say his last name?
Figueiredo.
Figueiredo.
You
You
put
know what?
some respect on that man's name, please.
Hey, he's earned it.
Yeah.
I feel like he just fought. Yeah, he just fought at
Like,
November 21st.
yeah, a couple weeks ago.
He won in 2 minutes. He guillotined them.
Yep. That's the type of.
Yes.
I think his upbringing is really, really interesting. I was listening to one of his coaches, Valid Ismail, was talking about him, and he was saying this guy does not train or grow up with humans. He's living in the jungles, and evidently he was like fucking wrestling water buffalo and like since he was a child.
It says here he was born to an extremely wealthy family his whole life and just got into fighting not too long ago.
Fucking Wikipedia.
I'm just kidding. I made
I
that
know,
up.
I know. But yeah,
Uh,
he's one of those Amazonians with a story, like a just a different type of strength that's there. And you would
yeah.
think, he missed weight. He missed weight against Benavidez, right? But ever since then, whatever hole that was there it's been corrected. But I guess my only question mark for him is, what are you going to look like after 5 rounds? We haven't seen how he looks after 5 rounds. So if this fight, Moreno could be one of those durable guys that goes 5 rounds and could squeak out a decision, right?
I mean, as we see, Brandon Moreno's kind of a decision machine.
Decision machine.
His last few fights.
incredibly durable. He plays the role of the underdog very, very well. He wears
He's
it.
got his last fight he won by TKO, but then his last finish before that was 2019, and then it's just been a bunch of decisions. Yeah, I mean, like he's not like Figueiredo. Like Figueiredo's last few fights have all been finishes. His
Hmm.
last not finished was July 27, 2019 against Alejandra
Yeah, Pantoja.
Pantoja,
Yeah.
the cannibal. That's his nickname.
But
uh, I think uh Figueiredo walks through him.
that's the feeling I get too, just because I feel like he's a different cat. I feel like I feel like we'll kind of get to know him a little bit after this fight. and we'll start to understand how dominant this guy really is for that division.
I mean, we have no I mean, Benavidez is number 2, and he's already got 2 over Benavidez, like, that shows this division.
How yeah.
He's kind of already beaten a lot of the division already.
Oh yeah, but then you got guys like Cody Garbrandt who want to come down.
Yeah, so they'll come down. Then you have, Cejudo who could come back
Yeah,
for the right.
Cejudo, and I think that's what it is. Like the hope is that this guy really is going to be the 125 cash cow, right? Like a not necessarily a Demetrius Johnson, because Demetrius Johnson was very entertaining to us and he was so technically sound that he just made it look easy, and it was never anything like spectacular outside of the submission that he hit on what's his name? Uh he just got cut by the UFC. This not Cyborg. I can't think of who it is, but he hit that. Remember, he took his back and he was taking him down, and as he was taking him down, he hit him an
Hit the
armbar.
armbar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was that one, and then there was the knockout of Joe Benavidez. That was another one where they were caught in the middle of an exchange, and he just dropped them. But Davidson, Davidson looks like a destroyer, and more people are gravitated towards destroyers because of the fact that it's exciting. It's exciting to them.
I think, um, he kinda reminds me of, like, a Hen what's his name?
Henan Barrow.
Why am I Henan Brow. Yeah. I don't think he'll last long at the top. 135 is a much more competitive division than 125 is.
Yeah, he's not going to have a whole lot of competition at 25. So
Yeah, I mean, who's he got
I
what's his
think
name again? Joseph Benavidez for a 3rd time?
I think the draw there is also with if he does take out Brandon Moreno like in spectacular fashion in March, you're probably going to get a Cody Garbrandt matchup. And then if he takes out Cody Garbrandt, then you're going to have more people at 35, like TJ Dillashaw might come back down to 25. You're going to have more people that are going to want to jump to fight this guy. And the 35, we know how deep the 35 pound division is. So now just imagine some of those guys going, you know what? I'm going to take my shot at 25 and see how I do. But I mean, you're never going to see Marlon Moraes down there, but you could see maybe I think Sanhagen's too big, but you're going to see a lot of tweeners that can actually get down to make that weight and put on more fights for 25 because I like the 25-pound division. There just isn't enough hype behind it, and I think Deiveson could be that hype guy.
Let's talk about the releases recently.
Yoel,
Yoel.
is that where you're going to start, or we're going to start with Rachel?
Either one. I mean, the UFC kinda I think Yoel I can see because he hasn't won in a while.
Yeah,
He's
I think it came down to money with Yoel.
yeah, I mean, he's probably getting a big paycheck and he's like and the UFC is like, "Well, we're not gonna pay you because 'cause you're not winning."
Yeah, and
Like,
he's
and you've
like,
had so many title shots.
yeah, and I'm sure they offered him a bunch of fights too,
Mhm.
but he just didn't want to take them, and because the money wasn't looking good. But he's lost 3 in a row. He
Is
is
it only
prime.
3?
Yeah, you might be right. Might be longer, but he is the greatest middleweight to ever lose 3 fights in a row.
Yeah, I mean, he's 43 now, but goddamn, like, he was so good.
Yeah,
Yeah, he lost 3 in a row. His last win was a knockout over Rockhold.
so it's like that's the dilemma. The guy's 43, the greatest fighter to ever lose 3 in a row because you still think if he fought for the title, he might still have a shot. Like
Mhm.
because of the way he loses. Um but it's crazy that Bellator doesn't want to sign him. PFL doesn't want to sign him, so I think he might end up going to maybe one FC.
I thought I read somewhere that one doesn't want him.
No, one doesn't want him neither.
I thought I could I thought I read that Bellator and one both, like, passed,
Damn.
but
Maybe his price
I can
tag is
see
too
why.
high. Yeah.
1, he's probably expensive, and 2, he would probably wipe out their divisions and, like, kill any of their momentum.
Yeah. I mean, you got Gregard who's riding on top of the world over in
Yeah,
Bellator.
I mean, outside of Gegard and maybe Lovato if he ever comes back, who's he gonna fight? A 185 version of, Diego Lima? Or, what's his name?
Yeah, there's really no
Douglas.
yeah, there's really no, there's really no names that are sitting in Bellator. Like,
And then won their 185 division. Who do they have?
I don't even know. There's probably a bunch of Russian dudes.
Yeah, so if he goes over there and just decimates their division and like runs, that only shows how good the UFC's middleweight division is, and it kind of like hurts those guys, especially if they'll be paying a lot for them.
Oh yeah, it's the same problem that they had with Phil Davis, with Ryan Bader, with Mitrione. You know,
But Ryan Bader left the UFC on a winning streak, I believe,
he did, but he
which
almost got.
helped the
But
other
he,
division.
but that fight that he won, his last fight was against Alir Latifi, and he almost got knocked out by Alir Latifi. Before you remember, he ended up knocking out Latifi with a flying knee.
Yeah.
So,
No, he's off of 2 wins. So he knocked out Latifi with a knee,
uh
and then he TKO'd Lil Nog, and then he went to Bellator.
so his fight with Latifi, because I mean, Little Nog, true story. Little Nog was 57 when he fought,
Yeah.
but Latifi, that fight was very competitive. It was very competitive, and then he ended up almost getting knocked out because you know how there's a time where like the overhand right will sometimes find his
Mhm.
head, and he'll end up dancing on skates. Um,
That's like every fight.
yeah, so that ended up happening, and he cleaned up the cobwebs, and Latifi had shot in, and right when he shot in, I think it was after he got clipped, he shot in, and as he shot in, he got caught with a big knee, put him out.
Yeah.
Then he ended up, I guess he ended up beating Little Nog, scrambling eggnog. I'm just kidding. No
Mhm.
disrespect. No disrespect.
You're rude.
But yeah, Yoel,
But,
0-3, no notable wins in the last 3 years.
yeah, I don't think anyone wants to take that chance on him
Yeah,
because that's dangerous if you're trying to grow your middleweight division or even your light heavyweight division.
to have a
Like,
43-year-old go in there and tear everybody up.
have a guy who's off of 3 UFC losses go in your division, yeah.
Yeah,
Just clean it out, and you're like, "Oh, shit, well, there goes our steam."
yeah. Like, oh well, and then he's gonna be out because he's gonna have to retire because he's old.
Yeah.
He's
Let's see if I can find the list of fighters.
Rachel.
Yoel,
Yeah, there's
Rachel.
gonna be some 60 fighters that are released. I think Tyron Woodley is gonna be one of those.
I mean, what is he on 3 fight losing streak?
Like, it,
But
like
Tyron's
yeah,
also like, he's an analyst, and so
he is,
I don't think they would release him.
but he also complains a lot too.
He does, he is a complainer in
He
terms of being a fighter.
Yeah, and he's always complaining. He's always talking about, I don't want to take this fight. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. So
Mm,
I think he might be on the way out also.
yeah. Juicy Formiga was released last month. Um, I'm trying to find some other names.
That are notable.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been, like, a lot of the lower tiered guys,
Well, Dana did
but
say he's going to release some 60. He said there's going to be. He said, trust me, there's going to be more cuts coming.
yeah, I mean, Yoel doesn't surprise it does and it doesn't.
Well, you know what the problem is?
What's that?
The problem was COVID, man. Like, since COVID, there's been a lot of fighters that have shown Dana White, hey, look, I'm valuable. I may not carry a name, but I'm valuable because I'll take fights whenever you want me to. Right. And then there's
Mm,
Yoel Romero, who takes like one fight every year. So his stock value started dropping when some of these guys were taking, like Chismaev, when Hasmat started taking fights at middleweight and welterweight, and Kevin Holland started taking fights every 2 weeks, and Bobby Green started taking fights every month. Like, when these guys started taking fights, it just makes some of the fighters that like to take their time and fight once a year look really bad. And especially if you're coming off of 3 losses in a row, to sit and wait and not have a fight lined up for X amount of time, like, that's a tough one.
yeah, I mean, completely. but
Yeah.
I think Rachel Ostovich was kind of deserved.
Yeah, she lost 3 in a row too. I mean, Paige Van Zant, like, didn't, like, almost break her arm?
I mean, she's got what, 1 fight or 1 win in the UFC. That's it.
Yeah. At
She she's got 1 win in the UFC, which was in her last one was 2017, and then 18, 19, and 20, she's only had 1 fight in each of those years, and she lost them all. So, I mean, you're 1 in 3 out of 4 years, the UFC is gonna let you go.
Oh, yeah. It's very true. Like, it's they don't care about your following.
Yeah. I mean, Paige Van Zant's barely hanging on in terms of being a fighter.
Yeah, she's in bare knuckle boxing, which I don't know that. I mean, maybe she wanted to rehab her image and not be the pretty girl that 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 got into fighting, you know? Like, but
I'm seeing
that story that she had about her high
uh-huh.
school, like, man, wow, did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Did you
gangbang. I'm here for the gangbang, the gang rape. Yeah,
the Rachel Ostovich is taking swipes at fans who say she should put be or that are trying to push her into an OnlyFans.
there's no way she's too Christian.
I mean, she's like a scandalous outfit away from being on an OnlyFans.
I do not wish to comment on grounds which may incriminate me.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like she doesn't post scandalous stuff already as it is.
Yeah,
So, I'm not trying to like I mean, good for her if she does, but
it's an
let's not
option.
act like you yeah, let's not act like you're not close to it as it is.
Yeah, it's an option, is all I'm saying. But I mean,
Yeah.
she could build her name somewhere else too. She could go down to Bellator, and she could start building her name on some of their fighters that might be as evenly skilled as she is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't what weight does Ilima fight at?
35, I think. She's fighting
Okay.
tonight, by the way.
That's right, she's fighting, a somebody that nobody's gonna talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately.
She's not going to go up to 45 to fight Cyborg, so
No.
nobody wants that smoke except for Amanda Nunes.
Yeah.
Maybe
Let's
Shevchenko
see.
wants that smoke.
I don't know, so that's a big difference in the weight class.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I don't even think Cyborg can make 35, and I don't think Shevchenko would go up to 45.
So, Rachel Ostovich, she didn't completely turn down the idea of doing an OnlyFans.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Well, like, she put, "If I make one, it's because I want to on my terms, LOL, not because y'all asking for it. I do what I want when I want."
Good for her.
Meanwhile, she's probably in about a few months, she'll be like, "Hey, so I made an OnlyFans."
Yeah. $17 a month.
Hey, I mean, shit, if you get I don't know how many she has got about 1,000,000 or she got 700,000 followers on Instagram.
Hmm.
So if you got 1 that percent of them to get onto your OnlyFans,
You're
what is that?
you're balling.
Yeah, that's why is my math not working? 10% would be 7,000, so 700. So if you had 700 people at, let's say she did,
15 to
what,
20.
$15, she'd be making an extra 10,500 a month
Sounds like
just off
a
the subscriptions, yeah.
it sounds like a no-brainer to me, but I'm not her.
No, and she's got a daughter and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff, so I'm just saying that's honestly, I'd support if people wanna do that. It's
Hmm.
money, and if people are willing to pay money for whatever,
Oh
just take
yeah.
their money and
Of course. Don't, don't, no need to yuck other people's yum.
yeah. I mean, that's her thing. I mean, the obviously fighting hasn't necessarily worked out for her, so and I guarantee she's probably expensive.
She probably is.
Considering who she is and what she's done in the sport, her contract probably called for a lot more than other people in her position.
Probably. I mean, people like watching. People tune in to watch her.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know she wasn't that good. I mean, Paige, at least I thought had a decent career, but I mean, if she's gonna go bare knuckle, that's a terrible idea.
I agree. I
She should
agree.
just do an OnlyFans too, make some extra money at that point.
She gets angry at fans for bringing that up.
I mean,
People have
it's
suggested
just
her and Austin do it. Like, oh, you guys should do a OnlyFans. She's like,
I mean, if the options I mean, she's got probably a lot of options, but if it's between doing bare knuckle fighting and an OnlyFans, I would definitely do fucking bare knuckle or I'll do the OnlyFans. I mean, I mean, I'm not trying to, like, be mean or anything, but she just hasn't worked out as a fighter.
I agree. I agree, and it's sad but true. I mean, there's a lot of pretty women that are coming up in mixed martial arts right now that are making names for themselves too. Right? You got like Amanda Hibas,
Mhm.
who's fighting. I think next month. She's fighting next month.
Yeah, and she was Paige Van Zandt's last fight, and she obviously armbarred Paige.
Oh, dude, such a nice armbar too.
But here's the thing, is
That was by
Ama
design, by the way.
Amanda Hibas and let's say, like, Ariane Lipski, they're good.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Even
like,
though she lost her last fight, Lipsky lost her last fight, she's still
to
really
Antonina.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. And, like, and Amanda Hibas is just good. She happens to be pretty as well, but she's good.
Yeah.
Unlike Paige, who is pretty, but she's not that good.
She's
Like,
okay.
you
Yeah.
can't, like, compare the 2.
No, not at
Like,
all.
so I don't I mean, doing bare knuckle just seems like a cop out. Like, I still wanna fight. I can't fight at the highest level, so maybe I'll do this dumb version of boxing. And honestly, I think it's dumb. I think bare knuckle's stupid.
I
Good
agree.
for
Yeah.
the fighters who do it and make their money, 'cause, make your money however you need to, but I think the whole concept of it is dumb and dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny, but there's fans that are always going to watch it. Like I tried watching the Kendall Grove fight, I couldn't find it, but
Yeah.
it's just it almost seems like it's like you got Phil Baroni that's still there. So when
I
Phil
mean,
Baroni
can
is like
Chris
the
Lee
most
just put him out?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard a funny story recently about Phil Baroni.
What's that?
So somebody was talking trash to Phil and online, and he was talking trash to somebody, and they were going back and forth. And then somebody said, "Aren't you the same guy that Nick Diaz triangled in the bathroom in New York?" And you know his response was,
What?
"Wait, that was Nick Diaz."
That's hilarious. That's definitely a Phil Baroni thing to say.
Yeah, but I legitimately think the story's real. He might have been so drunk that he started fucking with somebody, thinking that and all of a sudden, it's fucking Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz, and he triangles him
He didn't even know who it was.
in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. So I share that little bit of information.
So let's move on. So do you think Francis could be the next one for Stipe?
He's got to be. It's got to be in March. Whether or not his head's going to be, whether or not Stipe is going to be recovered, that's going to be the big question mark. But yeah, I think March. That's going to be it. Jones, you give Jones the winner of Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis.
Okay. So you're gonna give him Curtis Blades then?
Yeah, you give him Curtis Blades, unless Derek Lewis knocks him out. But yeah, so then you give him Curtis Blades, and then you have
Why
Curtis.
not Rosenstrike?
I mean, you could give him Rosenstrike, but I'm pretty sure Alistair wants that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know why Alistair would want that.
Oh, I mean,
I mean, he was willing to fight,
yeah,
but
he was winning the fight, and it was like a last second shot.
I I don't know. I don't think in a second time that Alistair takes it.
Yeah,
I think his chance is flown.
it probably has, especially considering his age too.
I mean, but, Alistair's actually, like, he's 4-1 in his last 5, with the Rosenstruck being the last one he lost.
Yeah,
But, I mean, he's taken some big losses. Obviously, Stipe knocked him out, Ngannou knocked him out, Blades TKO'd him, and then Rozenstruik knocked him out. Or I don't know they called it a knockout, but I don't think he was knocked out.
Yeah, it was a stoppage, right? You ended up hitting
Yeah,
him, and then that was it. It was like the last second, like,
4
"Brr."
seconds left.
Yeah.
I mean, the ref should have let him go there for the 4 seconds because maybe, he could have survived those last 4 seconds and he would have won that fight.
But I mean, maybe that lip looked so bad that the ref was like, "We need to stop this."
Yeah, but I mean, fuck. I'd feel so upset if like I lost a fight that I was winning in the last 4 seconds because the ref saw my lip. Like I'd be like, remove my lip at that.
I thought you were going to say I would be so angry if I lost the last because of the last 4 seconds by getting knocked out. I'm like, is that right, Chang Sung Jung?
Yeah, the fucking elbow from out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Yair Rodriguez being suspended for 6 months because he's really bad at giving locations.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that was about. I feel like that's a cover up for something.
Yeah, so Chael Sonnen was saying something like it's a cover up for him being afraid to fight.
I mean, he barely won against Chan Sung Jung, a fight that he was losing.
Hmm.
And then what was his last fight?
I'm almost thinking
Uh,
that was his last fight.
no, Jeremy. There was the Chan Sung Jung, then two Jeremy Stevens
Oh
fights.
yeah, the first one was the no
Eye
contest.
poke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the second one was the decision, right?
yeah, he beat the decision. He actually hurt Jeremy Stevens in that fight with the body, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
But that was his last fight. Was October 2019.
yeah.
So it's been 14
I
months.
mean, we for like the last 6 months, it was him and Zabit. They were lined up. They were lined up. It was made like that was supposed to be the one.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to. I mean, he's went 14 months. Again, like you were saying, in a time where fighters are chomping at the bit to get every fight possible and fight every few months,
Hmm.
he's let a lapse of 14 months go already.
Exactly. Unfortunately, this is also a game of what have you done for me lately.
Yeah. I
You
mean, you're only as good as your last fight,
know. Hmm.
and his last fight was a long time ago. It was a good fight, but it was
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Oh yeah. No. And I mean, he's talented, but the problem is we don't know how talented he is because he won't let us. He won't let us see it.
But here's the thing: is Calvin Cater's last fight was, or his last, Zabit's last fight was Calvin Cater in 2019,
Hmm.
November 9th, 2019. So it's been a long time for him too.
But it's not to his fault because he had that fight lined up.
Yeah, he had the August fight against Yair lined up, and
Yep.
Yair pulled out.
And then in October they were supposed to fight again.
Yeah, and then Yair, that never happened. Then Yair got suspended.
Yeah. So it's like it's not Zabit's fault. It's not like he was like trying to be inactive. It just happened like, okay, my guy that you matched me up with twice pulled out. Like I was ready to go. It's not my fault that that guy can't text location. Cannot send location now.
Yeah, it says like his law. You saw to suspended him because he was failing to file his locations, which he accrued a whereabouts failure in each of the first 3 quarters of 2020. I mean, it's annoying to have to deal with that and do that, but other fighters do it,
And it's
and
your
at the same
profession.
time, it's your job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what that job entails. And like you can't make the excuse of like I forgot because then you're surrounded by the wrong people, right? Because people are supposed to tell you, "Hey, listen. If you want to stay in the fight game on the biggest stage that there is, you need to do these things." But who knows? I don't know his inner circle. I don't know what's going on. I know he's been training at Alpha Male. So, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, well, we'll see. I mean, so earliest you could come back is what, April?
Hmm. I think they retroactive it. They made it retroactive to like September or something.
Okay.
Yeah. So it sucks, man.
Yeah, I mean that was a key person in 145 to watch. I never thought he was that good. I loved watching, Frankie
Frankie?
Edgar just
Oh, just put
yeah.
it on him? Oh, yeah. He just put it on him like
And I
Frankie
feel bad because
does.
I took a picture with Yair Rodriguez when he was went back in, the UFC Expo in, I think,
Oh, yeah. I remember
2022.
that when you went with Kevin.
Nobody knew who Yair was, yeah. I let him uppercut me.
That's so funny, man.
But yeah, I mean, that's Yair is kinda dropping the ball there. I mean, all you have to do is report your whereabouts, and it's
Send
annoying, but
location. That's all you gotta do. Just send location. Like,
so we know
that's your job.
well, it's Jones fights who? I mean, we have Alistair, who's coming off of a win. You have Yair or Jairzinho coming off of a win. Derek Lewis and Blaze are tied up. Volkov, he just lost, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, he lost. No, he just beat Walt Harris. That's right. He got him. Uh, what happened with Volkov and Curtis Blades? Did that fight never happen? Let's see. Um, I yeah, that never happened. So I mean, it could be. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he lost to Curtis Blades, and then he beat Walt Harris. So Volkov could be a good option too.
Yeah.
He's 6'7", 80-inch reach. I mean, that could be a good one for John Jones to go to the heavyweight. I mean, there's a lot of options for John Jones at the heavyweight.
Yeah, I just think he needs to take one of those options. The guy's naturally big anyways. So he should just take a fight.
He's gonna take the right fight for him.
Yeah, if I was
He's
him,
not
I
gonna fight Ngannou.
I would start out with Alir Latifi. Somebody that was like I think Alir Latifi might be ranked. I don't know, but
Um,
still might be ranked, but he's a heavy wrestler with a very big overhand right, and that's about it.
Ilir's not even ranked anywhere in the UFC anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did they kick him out?
I think he's cut.
He might be one of the cuts.
No, I think he got cut a while ago, actually.
Oh.
His last fight so he's lost 3 Ilir's lost 3 in a row to Corey Anderson, Volkan, and then his move to heavyweight against Derek Lewis, he lost a decision in February, and that was his last fight.
Yeah.
He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Is he?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, his brother
Oh,
is.
that's pretty funny.
Mm, but yeah, I don't see is he a training partner of
Gustafson?
Hamzat? No, Hamzat?
Yeah, he's also a training partner of Hamzat. They all train at the same place in Switzerland or Sweden. It's with Alexander Gustafsson, Jimmy Manawa, Ilir Latifi,
Mm,
Hamzat.
yeah. I could see that, but John Jones has his pick, and I think any of them are really a good choice for him to move up to. I just hope it's not like Andrei Arlovsky.
His own training partner,
Yeah. Or like Alexei Olenek. Like, he's 10th, but he's nobody.
or calling out like a JDS,
Yeah.
just somebody that's on the downside of their career.
That's what I'm hoping doesn't happen. I'm hoping he picks a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, John has always been a competitor in every stretch of the imagination. He's up until the last few years, he's taken on anybody and everybody that was willing to stand in front of him. Um, and he was very competitive about it. He's got that ego to him where he does believe he is the best, and because of that, he's going to fight anybody.
Speaking of ego and talent and like competitive spirit, we have to talk about the goat of all those things, Logan Paul.
Oh, against Floyd Money?
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how much they're getting paid for that.
Oh, he's getting bank.
I mean, how much bank though? It's not going to be Conor McGregor bank.
No, I don't think it's Conor McGregor bank, but he's still probably making
It's
probably.
an exhibition.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. He's getting well
They'll probably
double digit millions.
I think Logan will probably get 5 and Mayweather will probably get 10.
No,
And
Mayweather get like 70.
no, I no, Mayweather is not gonna. he's not gonna wanna put up that much effort, he's not gonna probably train. He's probably just gonna be like, "Alright, give me 10, it's a $25 pay-per-view."
Oh,
The
cool.
price will go
I'm
up
in,
as the day sooner.
dude. Hopefully
Yeah,
they throw like. What, imagine if they stack the undercard,
and I think Snoop said he's going to
commentate.
call, like, yeah.
Snoop's like, look at the left hand from my nephew. Get him, Mayweather.
Uh, I don't think it's gonna be that much, but I think Mayweather's gonna toy with Logan for a little bit.
Yeah, he's like,
I don't
I get that YouTube star.
I wanna see Mayweather just, like, annihilate him, like, in the 4th round. Like, I just wanna make him look dumb.
Kind of like what he did with Connor in the ninth or 10th.
It was the 10th, but, like, for the first few rounds, I mean, obviously
Yeah,
because Mayweather was taking him off,
we were
but
like, whoa, okay,
and then Mayweather's like,
maybe.
"Alright,
Yeah,
box."
yeah. Then he was like, oh man, I know this guy's gonna tire out quick.
Yeah.
Then he started
Um,
walking forward, and that was it.
yeah,
I think it goes the distance, but I think it's a punishing distance.
yeah.
Like I think Mayweather just teaches them a lesson.
I think so. I don't think he's gonna, like, destroy him maybe right off. I'd like to, but I think he's just gonna play with him for a bit and make it worth everyone's while for their money they paid.
Yeah, and if Paul goes down, then he's a bitch. Just kidding.
And I think Logan Paul is
I
legitimately
s-
going to try and knock him out.
yeah. As I say that behind my computer,
Yeah. You're like, "Actually, he's kind
he's
of a
a
loser.
bitch.
Actually,
He's
I could beat
sloppy
him in a
with the
fight."
jab.
Why do you say it
I
like that?
I don't know. That's how I picture. That's how I picture myself speaking to somebody like that.
We could talk about the first few cards. January's cards are stacked.
Yes, let's save that one because I got to get going.
Alright, we'll work on that one the next one.
Yes, yes. Do you mind if we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up.
Let's
I think
wrap
it's
it
a good
up.
idea.
And then the next episode, guys, we are going to talk about January. We're going to talk about what happened in December 19th. Or do you want to do one before December 19th and talk about that card?
Let's do one before and after because we gotta recap 256.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Alright, buddy.
Cool, man. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, Vince, we'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Take it easy.
Later.